Hello and welcome to another lovely day in MTG Arena. Today we're going to take the God Pharaoh's Gift Is It deck and we're going to enter an event. This is an event that runs to 7 victories or 3 losses, whichever comes first. So to set expectations, this will likely be a slightly longer than normal video. So if you've got some time, you can watch it to its entirety and see how the deck turns out. And if you don't have much time, you can break it up into segments, watch a little here, come back a little there. I want to do one of these a week with the video that we're featuring for the week, or the deck, we're featuring for the week. I'm stumbling over my words today. Thank you for your patience with me. And this week's deck, being the God Pharaoh's Gift blue-red deck, is going to be the one that we spin the wheel with. None of this is pre-recorded or edited. You're going to see everything play out exactly as it plays out, so I don't know if I'm going to 0-3 or 7-0 or something in the middle, but come along with me on the adventure. There we go. And we want to do quick draft? No, quick constructed. There it is. And hit play. We'll put up 500 gold. Oh, this is where I picked my deck. I always forget that part. I always go through, pick the deck, and then have to do it again. Once you submit your deck, you can't change it. You need to play this deck until the event is done. So that's important to remember. And I also track all the results of these events to keep a tab on the meta, which right now most people want to know. 27% red. 27% red. We have some 12 to 13% in like red-green dinosaurs and blue-black control, but red is by far the biggest. This hand is great. We will have to find some land, but I have faith. I have faith in us. Our opponent has gone to 6. Looks like they're taking their scry. And let's start the party. I'm going to lead on Prospector. If our opponent plays an island, we might play a turn 2 gate to the Afterlife, just to play around counter magic. A swamp. Interesting. I think I will play the turn 2 gate to the Afterlife, especially since it's a cycling land. It's either green-black Explore, or it's blue-black. And if it's blue-black, you want to slide under those syncopates. You want to slide in under those negates. And a Dusk Legion Zealot, still leaving me wondering what exactly we're up against. So let's dig, and I could take the Sweltering Suns, but I think right now hitting land drops is the most important thing. But I could really regret this if our opponent is a go-wide type deck. But with 2 Fanatical Firebrands, I'm not very scared. That said, Vampires is another thing on the table right this moment. So I will take the Sweltering Suns. By looting with the gate, I have faith that we will find the lands we need. Third black source. Ooh, attacking the hand. Exiling the Vizier is a good call, and perhaps we are very off on what our opponent is playing. Maybe some kind of a mono black deck. A brew, to say the least. Alright, another Vizier is excellent. And now I think I will just get rid of the Suns. And we'll just end this turn and keep this Firebrand activation up. We are up to 1, 2, 3 creatures in the graveyard. We have 2 right here that can go to the graveyard. And with the activation, we have 2 loots. So we just need one more thing to die. If our opponent attacks with a Zealot, we'll block with the Champion of Wits, no question. As that will guarantee that we can activate our gate. Opponent checking the graveyard as well. If the opponent casts another, exiles a creature that I control. So what we can do in response is this. which kills them both and sends them both to the graveyard. Alright, we're going to hang on to the Firebrand. It can send itself to the graveyard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we are there. We did it. Let's end this game. And that will do it. If you haven't seen the deck go off before, we would get back our Combat Celebrant, we would copy it with Vizier of Many Faces, we would make another creature, we would probably attack our opponent for 20-ish in that same attack step. So 1-0. Still unclear what our opponent was playing. Some kind of black controlling list, perhaps. Still could have been vampires or blue-black that didn't get its lands. But we're on to the next one. And this time we'll be on the draw. So we're going to need a hand with some low-cost cards to get on the board early enough to slow down a red deck, should we be against one. This certainly has that. We'll need another mountain for the Sweltering Suns, which is the catch-up card of the deck. But I have faith. Our opponent with an isolated chapel, so we dodge the red deck for another turn. We'll show them the mountain. Perhaps make them think we're playing the red deck. This deck can pose as a red deck sometimes. Opponent with an unclaimed territory on Knight, so we're going to play Knight Tribal here. There's a Knight of Grace. Fortunately, no black cards in our deck, but it is something that we have to be careful of because with that first strike, we can't really block it. So I think I'll play the Warkite. Well, I think we'll play the Scavenger just to get that loot in next turn with the gate. The gate to the afterlife, I mean. Although, playing the gate next turn might not be the play. Because white decks have Cast Out, they have Ixalan's Binding. Still, we might just attack with this and get the loots. It is why he's here. And perhaps our opponent's creature next turn will not have first strike if they attack with the Knight and play a History of Benalia. But instead they have a Knight of Malice, so they are doing it. But they are stuck on land, so we are going to deploy this gate to the afterlife. And I'm going to exert attack, get our loot in, but I guess, yeah, I do want to discard this. Should have done it, well, now I get another loot when this dies. I was about to say I should have done this first to threaten, but since you get a loot off the gate, our opponent's gonna take it though. Scared to put creatures into our graveyard. That's okay, we'll help ourselves in this manner. And here's another Knight of Grace, so the Knight beatdown plan is on. Fortunately, none of them have protection from red, so let's make a mess, everybody. Let's see, this will go to the graveyard, we'll get a loot. Loot right now is most likely the Warkite Marauder, and we're quite a ways off the creature count, so we'll just play a Prospector post-combat. Another Rivulet, huh? I guess I'll discard... No, I want to keep the mountain. No, I need the lands. We'll discard the Marauder. Marauder beatdown isn't what we need in this game. So this puts us on... Land City. Alright. Our opponent leaving mana up, implying that they might go after this gate to the afterlife. Let's see if we can stock our graveyard first, before they do that. And not quite. So where are we at? 1, 2, 3. This could be 4, and if we had a creature, 5. Not quite there. What is this? Try and think of a flash creature or something, but I'm going to send the Prospector, because why not? Alright. Hit. Pay our life. Strategic plan. And I guess we'll take this Firebrand. I could play it right now if I think my opponent's going to cast out this gate. I do think that's the play. At least we get a loot this way and get deeper into the deck. Fanatical Firebrand also defends the champion from cast out if you wanted to do something that funky. And no cast out. What is going on? Perhaps Vraska's Contempt? And our opponent will scoop. Easy peasy. Game 3. Running at 2-0. It's the Nazgul. Ooh, spooky. The Black Rider. The Nazgul. Hand is decent. We're going to need to draw the right pieces, but since it's got a good curve, and we'll say hello as well. The green deck, this can be an interesting matchup. If they have Thrashing Brontodons and play them early, it's very hard to win. Trying to, yeah, I think we'll just go straight for the Firebrand here, rather than the tap land. Our opponent did show a Llanowar Elf. Second Adventurous Impulse here. Picks up a Forest. And here come the Elves. Alright, so for this turn, I think we just... I could get out Prospector and a tap land, or I could get out Scavenger. I think we'll get out the Scavenger. And we'll get the Elves dead. As that mana acceleration can be a pain in the butt. Let's fill that graveyard and work our way to those gates. Here's the Bronto. That is a problem. So Warkite Marauder and Fanatical Firebrand is one way to handle it. But let's send our Scavenger in, loot away our Celebrant. Will our opponent block? I actually don't think they will, because of how important the Brontodon is here. But let's find out. Wow. Bold. If I had a Magma Spray, that would be a regrettable decision, but I do not have the means to punish. There is a gate. You want to keep it a secret. Warkite Marauder's a sort of solution. Sweltering Suns is certainly not. You could discard the other Champion of Wits, or the land. I hate both of those. And the Prospector is probably very important. Warkite Marauder only works on the attack. I guess we just have to catch our opponent tapped out. Or we just have to be able to put out multiple gifts. 4 creatures. Sure. Alright. Graveyard is very stocked if we can actually make it make the gate happen. Just buying time. He tapped out. He tapped out, everybody. Unfortunately, he did leave a very, very large Carnage Tyrant in the way. So, we can make our God Pharaoh's Gift and Vizier this Carnage Tyrant. But I believe it would just be a 4/4. We can just Vizier this Carnage Tyrant. Man, if we had a way through that thing... So close to winning the game. But I think the Vizier strategy is what's going to have to do it. And hope that we get our opponent to tap down somewhere, somehow. I believe our creature count's pretty high. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we can still spend another Vizier and have the creature count needed to activate gate if that's what we go for. You can also just play the gate, and as long as we keep mana up, our opponent can't. We can sack it in response. So opponent with the attack. I think we just trade here. We don't have to. We could Vizier and have 2 Carnage Tyrants next turn. But I'm okay with this. I think I have to protect the life total, as this deck hits very hard. And they tap out for a Tendershoot Dryad, which makes me want to find a Sweltering Suns again. Alright, let's play our Prospector. And let's play our Gate to the Afterlife. And we'll play this tap land and say go. And next turn we'll have 7. If he goes to attack this, we can go get a God Pharaoh's Gift in response. Why so subtle, Tendershoot? Okay. 1 blocker. We'll sack this. I do want my 7th land, but I don't need it. What I'm probably doing next turn, if I don't draw another gate or something like that, is Vizier, and then following up with a Firebrand is nice, but Firebrand doesn't do enough here, so we'll discard the Firebrand. Alright, pitch this. Get one of our God Pharaoh's Gifts. If our opponent pitches their Brontodon, then it livens us up to top decking God Pharaoh's Gift or Gate to the Afterlife and winning the game, potentially. That hurts. Alright. Vizier this, and then we have 2 blockers. That's not very good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we do need a blocker. I think the Vizier plan is the slow-mo plan. It also leaves us a little soft. We have 1 Celebrant in the yard, so the other Vizier is very important here. So I think we just bring back a Champ of Wits, hope that we get a block in, and hope it digs us to some gold. That is not gold, but hopefully there's gold on top of the deck. My goodness. A Savage Stomp here. using this token is game over. And there it is. Alright, so first loss. That matchup with Brontodons, like, Brontodon really swings that matchup. I had a game where I had to play against a green deck who had 3 of those Brontodons, and we managed to win that game, so it's not unwinnable, but you saw the effect that one Thrashing Brontodon had on that game. Going first, this hand is slow, but I think I can keep it. What do you know? It's a mountain and a Soulscar Mage. Hopefully we get an Earthshaker Kenra or something to target here. All for a prowess trigger, huh? I guess he does have an Earthshaker Kenra. Sacrificing in response because we can. Taking 2 because of the prowess trigger. Turn passed. If he has a Kenra, the Kenra can keep Champion from blocking, but I still would rather not play these Celebrants. So, still Champion. If he has Magma Spray, that's actually fine right now, because Soulscar Mage lets it go to the graveyard instead of getting exiled, which is actually good in this spot. Or I guess not. Let me read that again. If that creature would die this turn, exile instead. I see. Alright. The replacement effect doesn't prevent it from dying, of course. Okay. Opponent with a Ferocidon, feeling it. Could Vizier their Ferocidon, but that would just make our own life more miserable. What do I guess what I need most is to Vizier a Hazoret, which sounds horrible. Without a gate to the afterlife, this is a very bad matchup, just so you know. Without a gate to the afterlife, it's very bad. With a gate to the afterlife, it's close to good, but Ferocidon, of course, is one of those cards that can really swing that. There's a Hazoret. Our opponent's Soulscar Mage is a big problem here. They have a burn spell. They can tick our Hazoret down pretty aggressively. Oh, so much screaming. She's such a screamer, this Hazoret. Makes so much noise when she comes into the battlefield. It's not very pleasant either. Yeah, there we go. So the replacement effect makes Hazoret a 2/1, and then any other burn spell will kill her. The Wizard's Lightning showing up with the Soulscar Mage. Pretty fortunate. Alright, God Pharaoh's, we need a gate to the afterlife off the top is what we need, right? Oh, we're creature short even. So, even that will not do here. And the Blood Rage Brawler really helps. So, game over. 2 straight losses. Quick shattering defeats. Didn't have our Sweltering Suns or our Gate to the Afterlife, which are very important in the red matchup, just to kind of stay on top of the red deck, and of course get things like Ferocidon under control. I'm very afraid to abandon match. If I abandon match here, I'm concerned that it will count as my 3rd loss. Okay, there we go. I haven't quite figured out how that works, in the quick constructed events yet. If you abandon the match, if you take a loss for it, when it's just kind of stalling there. So far I've just let it wait. It's funny how a very small amount of stakes can influence behavior that way, but that's how it goes. Now we're on the draw, so definitely be sad to play against the red deck again on the draw. This hand also is lacking the Gate to the Afterlife or the Sweltering Suns, but I think we have to keep it as it has early plays and has a big payoff if we get there. And we're going to see green mana out of the gate. We're going to need to draw some strategic plannings or something to move the deck forward. Here is green, white, and a treasure map, so perhaps an interesting brew coming this way. And 2 straight lands off the top, not really what we want to see at all. And I guess we might be on the sad, mediocre, celebrant breed down plan. Oh my goodness, are you serious? We'll get our celebrant down, just kind of force through some beatings, but if our opponent Ixalan bindings it or casts it out, that will be sad. Of course we can Firebrand in response and put it in the graveyard instead, which is probably the play. But let's see. Wild Growth Walker. Sure. Uh-huh. Alright, so ability on the stack will get that thing dead. So some Ixalan's binding off the top. Right when I sack my Firebrand. I of course assumed they didn't have it because they didn't play it, but then there it is on top of the deck. Not my day. Let's plan. I definitely don't need more lands. I may as well take this. Just give him a normal attack here. Oh my goodness, really? Does our opponent not know what's going on? Perhaps they don't. Or perhaps their plan is to binding a God-Pharaoh's Gift. But my plan will be to kill them before binding matters. So we'll see how that goes for them. Karn is here. Karn likely just plussing 1 a few times. Just more value on top of value, which is not... I don't find that very inspiring myself. But some people just can't get enough value. Vizier. Nothing to Vizier just yet, but getting that into the yard is kind of a high priority, as it can combo with the Celebrant for the lethals if our opponent just taps too low. So I actually think that the play here is to play the Vizier and to copy the Skirk Prospector, because we can sack it. And then get it into the graveyard. So this is it. If we can get our opponent to tap low, or just leave us a good opening, we can likely get him for a lot of damage. The Karn token with the treasure map is an interesting combination for this deck. They're sitting there with an Ixalan's Binding in hand, so we do have to make sure we do a ton of damage the turn we do our combo. Okay. Congratulations, you're the proud owner of an Evolving Wilds. We now have Baffling End and Jadelight Ranger exiled. Okay. Opponent not wanting to attack. So my turn. And with 6 mana, we can definitely make our play at going off here. They have 2 mana open, potentially a seal away, but we can go Celebrant into Prospector, or into Vizier, copying Celebrant into Firebrand. May as well. And then I don't have to sacrifice my last prospector either. The other greedy thing I could do is attack if he blocks Sweltering Suns, but that's not very good. And then we're one short of using a Rivulet. So we may as well use our mana instead of our creature here. So we bring back Vizier, we exert an attack, and I'll attack you. I don't really care much about Karn in this spot. Alright, I'll bring back my Vizier. I'll copy this. I will exert and attack you. Untap the other Vizier. Or the other Celebrant, I should say. And we'll get back our Firebrand. And we'll go to attacks, and I'll leave this untapped so that it can exert next turn. And I'll attack you. Our opponent will very likely Ixalan's Binding the Gift, which is fine. There's a block. There's not a block. Okay. Opponent can get a Baffling End and exile one of these, which is annoying, but we'll still be in a decent position. And again, they pretty much have to Binding the God Pharaoh's Gift now. Which it's also important to know that we can use Gate to the Afterlife to get a God Pharaoh's Gift out of the deck and get around the Ixalan's Binding. Our opponent using Treasure Map mana on upkeep, I don't know if that's where you want to be, because they would have had the line of Baffling End and Binding if they did not make that play. Perhaps they have another Baffling End. Here comes the Binding. Okay, now keep in mind, there are no more creatures in the yard. Our opponent may feel that that has to be the play. I'm not so sure. And now our opponent's making some jump blockers. What they don't know about is the Sweltering Suns, which can greatly reduce their ability to block. Okay. Scrounger is here. So if these are dead, and our opponent has one blocker, and we attack with all, then they have to chump. They'll likely chump here. It'll die, but we'll have another attack step. So this is excellent. So we will sack you for the reds and play this 3 damage to each creature. Now we could trade this for this, and then this would exert, hit for 4, and then this would exert, hit for 4, and then this would hit for 4. So that's lethal without losing a Celebrant. And that should do it. Fought our way through the Brontodon and the Karn, all the value to get our 3rd win. Now 4 wins is the big number. At 4 wins, you break even on your gold, and you get cards. So 4 wins is the break even. So this is a money game. Make sure that we're staying ahead on our dollars, which of course is probably everybody's goal. Going infinite means not losing money. Alright, we got a gate and we got the curve, so this is a good hand. And on the play, even better. Alright. I don't think I have to sneak the gate in this time when I have a decent 2-drop play in Battlefield Scavenger. Martyr of Dusk. Alright, let's get the gate to the afterlife down and send in the team. Oops, cancel attacks, we want to exert. Anything that gets us deeper in the deck is usually good. And the second gate, oh my, oh my. Opponent looking into blocking, yes. Or not. It's amazing how often people just do not want to block the Scavenger. And then they do. With the gate out, I don't know. I think it's mostly right not to block the Scavenger, to be honest. Alright, well, 3 creatures. We've got to find many more. Here comes the history of Benalia. Making night tokens, doing night things. This makes a 2/2 when it comes into play. The next turn it makes another 2/2. Both have vigilance, both are knights. And then on the third time, knights get +2/+1 until end of turn. Which can be a beating. Alright, let's dig into the deck. We found 2 more creatures, which is excellent. Which I believe means we can go off. No, we still need to find 1 more. So I can put these straight in the graveyard, or I can use one of them as a loot. I think I'll use it as a loot. 3, 4, 5. So we do need to find 1 more. So I think what I can do is play this, attack this, attack a goblin, loot the gate, take action. All I need is a creature. I said all I need is a creature. Found it. So discard that. Alright, sack the gate. Play this because combat can take a long time. And we get a Celebrant. Celebrant exerts, get in there. Hit him hard. Now this time we don't have another way to copy the Celebrant, so we'll get the Champion of Wits and draw 4, discard 2. Found another Celebrant, and don't need another land. And we could attack here. We're at 22, so I think that's perfectly fine. So opponent with decent opening, and now double history of Benalia, but still quite a bit behind the God Pharaoh's Gift super draw. And here we go. So this time, let's go get a second gift so that we have plenty of battlefield for our opponent to fight through. And now we don't have enough creatures in the graveyard. Oh, I can't get another gift. That's tragic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're gonna need to block with this Scavenger, which is fine. Ooh, we could get our other Celebrant out of the graveyard and go to work. I suppose that's actually a pretty good play. Because we build a bigger board. And we'll exert, attack, and try to take their board down a little, since we are still. Now, because we exerted, we get to use our Scrounger, which is something that gets missed a lot. Oh, nice. I think because this gives another attack step. Ooh. Ooh. Alright, let's get back another Scrounger. Now we'll exert this one, and this one, and attack with you. And we'll discard another Celebrant, and since we have another attack step coming, we're in great shape. Fill that graveyard up. Look at all those Scavenger abilities for those who didn't like the Scavenger, and our opponent's seen enough. We will get the 4th win. Dollar, dollar, dollar. Those are actually our daily rewards coming in. Those are not the rewards from the event itself, which are now over the break-even. Record of 4-2. just need to draw land, and we have a strategic planning. The hand is a little bit slow, but if we draw a mountain or an island, it becomes faster. Overall, Sulphur Falls is just a huge benefit to the mana base, while Highland Lake is still very annoying. Blue-white, perhaps? Control? Interesting matchup, to say the least. Let's see. Let's see if we can strategically plan here and hit our land, and we can. Cards in the graveyard. We had to get rid of a gate, which is sad, but a prospector. Our opponent, with no hesitation there, implying that they don't have counter spells right now. But now they could have a cancel. Let's get in there. So if they have a cancel, what do we most want to be canceled? I suppose the Champion of Wits would be the best thing that they could cancel. Next turn we can double spell with Search for Azcanta and Strategic Planning. As long as it's not Syncopate, which would be frustrating. Yep, Wizard Retort, fine. Goes to the graveyard, where it can be useful later. Not sure about the matchup with blue-white. I actually haven't played it yet. I imagine it's okay, but we shall see. There's a lot of things the blue-white deck can do to be annoying, as anybody who's played it knows. Mana being tapped. Ah, you are that kind of deck. That's fine. Let's see. Well, we're up to 1, 2, 3. So we'll get out the... Oh, we'll play the Strategic Planning. Sweltering Suns can deal here with Wrath, so I'll hang on to it for now. You can always cycle it later. And Search can flip. We're up to 5. This is 6. Transform. Draw. Vizier, huh? If I go for this, it's very likely to get canceled. And even if it resolves, I'm very likely to grab like Gate to Godbear's Gift just to have it cast out. I guess neither of those things are for sure. I could just try to blow up Wrath. But he may just play another one. So many odd options here. I feel really inclined to go for the gate and just make him have the right answer. But let's see if he wants to protect Wrath. I think that's one of the more interesting things going on right now, is whether or not he wants to defend this creature. He's going to flash in a Karn.
I will fight for my friends.
Again, Karn's a neat little value engine. I'm not sure. Like here, it's like, okay. We could give our opponent a History to Benalia and hope they tap out, or we could give them a land. I'll just give them the land. But they're playing a blue-white flash deck, which it's been popular. It's an interesting build. I'm not sure how it matches up here. And our opponent goes for Lyra, so... Ooh. Can we loot? We can get a Celebrant. Actually, I think we want Champion of Wits here. But we can Vizier this Lyra, which is also interesting. It's just, do we gate to get on the board? Or do we just Vizier this Lyra? We can also use Gate and get our Champion of Wits and just dump all our combo pieces in the yard. If our opponent, though, does have Cast Out or Binding, that's a very sad play, as we're left with a 4/4. But I guess I can keep my Vizier and copy Lyra after that. It's a very interesting spot. I feel like if I can gift, I should gift. So let's go for it. Make him have the answer to this. And we'll get our champ. Champ is here to discard these celebrants, but I'll hold the Vizier in case I can go after the Dawnbringer here. And another gate is ideal. So if our opponent does tap out and have the answer, we can just fire right back with another gift. Okay, our opponent's going after the history and says go? Or no, they make a token and say go. Ain't that something? So if I can get this into the graveyard... Okay. If I can get this into the graveyard, we can kind of pick on Lyra here. So let's go for champ. Alright, play a land. I think I'll go for my Vizier now. So that I do have a 5/5 Dawnbringer, so if this plan works out, I'm in good shape. And our opponent's going to scoop them. I'm not sure. Once again, I'm always playing, trying to consider what my opponent has in their hand. And whenever I think about it, I think of ways that they could mess with me, so I try to play smart around those, but often our opponent does not have it. Game ends. I have to wonder what those like 5 or 6 cards were. If they weren't counter spells, if they weren't settle the wreckage, if they weren't cast out, what would our opponent be running? Another very good hand, I believe. The gate is, of course, the highlight. We don't have the Sweltering Suns, but we have a strategic planning to possibly find one if we need it. We only have 2 creatures, so that's another like kind of fail state, was if we don't find more creatures, but we run a lot of them. Going for win number 6. We're ahead on money after 4, so this is all bonus Magic Economy money. And let's go ahead and get Scavenging. Our opponent searching up a swamp, so here's what this could be. The God of Gods. Double black and a Seeker Squire. So they searched for black, then they drew black, then they found black. Are they running Evolving Wilds and Swamps? Perhaps this is a Lich's Mastery deck? Well, I'm not worried about the gate dying, so I think that's gonna be the play for the turn. But let's exert this Scrounger. And drop off the Celebrant. Land. I don't like playing these 90% of the time, because if they get exiled, it is sad. Our opponent taking a chump block. They are playing very curiously, to say the least. We could keep that we have this gate secret and instead play Prospector, but I want, if my opponent uses a removal dispel, to get that loot, and I'm not worried about the gate being blown up in a deck with all black, at least the way it appears now that they are all black. They're discarding something? They have a land to play. They move to end step to discard a Rootbound Craig? Can somebody tell me what is happening? All right. Well, let's fire this up. champion is probably best, but planning also gets me deeper. I think the other planning is probably the take, as this adds a creature to the graveyard. And these creatures can go to the graveyard whenever I want them to. So I'll just keep planning and keep taking land. And your go. 1, 2, 3. This is 4. This is 5. This could be 6. Yep. Yeah, let's see if we can. We'll go like this. Go like this. Go like this. And we'll go this. Sack this. Target this. Take action. Loot. Discard. Loot. Discard. Because this basically gets me another loot. Sack that. Loot. We're gonna have to remember to search our graveyard. Action. Loot. Alright. Activate. Got as much out of that as we could. Graveyard. Dig up Celebrant. Exert. Exert. 2 loots. Oh yeah, I have to have a card in my hand for the Battlefield Scavenger to work, so a slight misstep there. I'll have to do better in the future. Down to 8. One more time. Because I missed it last time, I just want to show that it can be done. I'm gonna put that down as facing a brew. I don't know what went wrong. Maybe our opponent let their young son or daughter take over for that game. I'm not sure. I don't know what to say there. But we're going for win number 7. Trying to complete a 7-2 run. And the end boss today will be the Dark Genesis. Yeah, another very fine hand. We've been lucky with plenty of playable hands in the last 4 games. Of course, that always makes a big difference in Magic. Okay, so I'm gonna play the Prospector. If I see a swamp or an island, I'm going to try to resolve the Gate to the Afterlife on turn 2. Anything else, I'll just try to strategic plan for a land. Play it normal. Opponent in the turn 1 tank. Perhaps reading Prospector, perhaps hasn't seen it before. We have Plains, which is not a turn 2 Gate to the Afterlife approach. And we have a Sky Marcher. I'll see if my opponent wants to trade. They probably don't. Right. I will dig for land. And I will find one. And put 2 Champion Wits in the graveyard. Excellent. We're still looking for a Combat Celebrant. And it looks like Vampires is what we will be playing today. I think we have a good draw for it. Ixalan's Binding is probably the only thing to seriously look out for. Okay, we'll resolve a gate and say we could do a funky like sack this, play this, kill that. That's not a terrible play. It's even better, though, if I play the other gate, so I'm going to end the turn here. Our opponent probably doesn't want to attack into this Prospector with the gate on the board. If I do that same play with double gate, I get even deeper in the deck. So a Sunscourge Champion, perhaps some red tech from the vampire player, or perhaps this is just a white-black aggro deck. No blocks, because we have the play that we discussed coming up. Alright, so we'll play you. Now I'll sack you for mana, get 2 loots. Right. You. Let's see. Cards in graveyard are 4 creatures. This will be 5. This will be 6. And I have 2 mana? No, I will be a mana short. Still, it's the right discard. And we'll end the turn there. Planning to go absolutely nuts next turn. So what we have during combat is a block sack scenario. Okay, opponent plays Legion's Landing. Don't really care right now if they flip it, I don't think. But I can just prevent them from flipping it, so perhaps I should. Plus the more they attack with, the better. So we'll kill this now. Still need a combat celebrant. We have not found that yet. So we're going to take our best stab at finding it next turn. Opponent's still on attack, so they get to punch us. And probably play another creature. Zealot, okay. And they tapped low, so... the door is open. If we can find a celebrant, we can jump right through it. There's Scavenger, sorry. Let's see, let's tap this. See if we can hit it this way. I mean, right now we do have double God Pharaoh's Gift. That's... do I really want to try to hit Celebrant when I could just double God Pharaoh's Gift? Because here's what's up. I can God Pharaoh's Gift and use the first one to get Champ, and the second one to get a Celebrant if we discard it, which is better than casting a Strategic Planning here. However, I can Prospect first, because this is basically a Lotus Petal. Basically free. I get 2 loots, and I get the mana. So I get closer to a Celebrant if there is one. And it doesn't appear to be one yet, does there? Alright, so we did have one in the graveyard. Let's pull that out. And get the other one out of the deck. Move to combat. Don't think there's any reason I'll need this mountain. So I'll play it post-combat. One more time. Am I sure there's no celebrants? Seems like there's been celebrants there all day, right? But nope. So we'll get the Champ. Champ is here. Celebrant? Oh yeah, we got it there. We got there, everybody. I guess the other island can go. Alright, so now we find that celebrant. And exert, and attack. Here comes the pain. Alright, 2 blockers down. Let's head back to the graveyard. This time we'll get a Champ. Again, try to get more celebrants, but I think we do have a Vizier, so we're going to get another one regardless, and this game should basically be at an end. Discard those. Down to 9. One more time. and all attack. That will be game. That will be win number 7. So, hallelujah. Another 7-2 day in the arena. Let's claim those prizes. It slow rolls you a little with the RNG. Claim prizes? And it's like, maybe I'll give you nothing. How about that? Do you like that? Hello? This is more than a little slow rolling. Let's try that again. There we go. Well, we already know that this grayed out uncommon is uncommon. Never mind. Wow, it's a grayed out mythic rare. Feels bad, man, but there you go. I guess it added some Volt progress. A Crested Sunmare, number 4, Horse Tribal in effect, and a Chainer's Torment. So 2 mythics and 1,000 gold. Double the money, put some cards on top. Well, that's a pretty good day in the arena. Thank you all for coming out. I hope that you enjoyed this video and join me again for more MTG arena shenanigans in the future. I will see you laters.